What is up, everybody? You are checking out the Uncensored Pro Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host and longest reigning WWE pay-per-view champion, the Hot Commodity ENC, joined by my good friend and co-host. Introduce yourself.
I'm Chris, here to talk about SmackDown. Nothing really happened too much. Decent show. The only thing I cared about was the build up to the Roman I can't speak.
Triple Four.
The Roman's Fatal 4-Way match.
Yeah, that lead up build up has been pretty decent. We'll be covering that. My Hot
I don't
Commodity.
think it should be 1-on-1 between Orton, but I don't make the calls, right?
No, I mean, I still think it should be one-on-one too, but I wonder like why they switched it up. Maybe to make Orton still look good, but I mean, I really don't see why they couldn't just make it Orton.
Well, there's a lot of people in the Rumble too, so I feel like where only one or two people can look good from the Rumble, they kind of put it on the main event too.
Okay. Well, we're covering WWE Friday Night SmackDown from January 19th, 2024, live in Atlanta, Georgia. And we start out with Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, and Jimmy Uso all arriving backstage with Paul Heyman. Roman says, "I'm here to make it right." Roman leaves. And then Solo says, "I'll fix it. I'll fix everything." So obviously Roman's not happy about this fatal 4-way match.
Also, sorry to interrupt you. This was the first time Solo's like talked and stepped up. So I think this is the beginning of the turn of Solo Sikoa.
Possibly.
Like he's finally like talking and doing.
My wife dresses me.
I don't know if I care though.
I didn't say it was important, but
no, what
I
I'm saying, no, what I'm saying is like
part of
even with him talking, like I think he.
So here we are.
I feel like this bloodline gimmick has gone long, like way too long, and I don't care about the people in it anymore. So we have SmackDown General Manager Nick Aldis in the ring with the contracts. AJ Styles comes out and signs it. LA Knight and Randy Orton all sign it, and then Roman Reigns comes out with Paul Heyman. Paul says, "Your tribal chief and I just arrived. We haven't had a chance to submit the contract to an attorney or even the wise man getting eyes on the agreement. Roman Reigns will not sign that contract this evening." So all this says, just so we're clear, Roman Reigns is not signing. Well, that's absolutely fine. I'll make it a 3-way for the vacant world championship. Paul then walks to the ring and Paul says, "There is no way you can sell this to your tribal chief who calls the shot. He should defend in a one-on-one match." LA Knight says, "Will you shut the hell up? I had Roman pinned at Crown Jewel, but his cross-eyed cousin saved him. This should be my rematch, but Johnny Come Lately shows up." And then AJ Styles interrupts and says, "The Bloodline tried to end my career, and you walked over my body to get a match, and you lost. You're lucky you're even in this fatal 4-way." LA says, You should watch the bass in your voice when you talk to me." AJ says, "We're fighting each other tonight." And LA says, "Tonight," he goes, "I walk in the Royal Rumble, pin Roman Reigns, walk out champion. This time, it won't be the Bloodline to leave you laying. It will be me." The one who got everyone saying LA Knight. And then with that, LA and AJ Styles brawl up the ramp. They're separated but continue fighting. And then Orton grabs Paul Heyman's tie, and Orton says, "This won't work because I'm going to drop and beat Solo. After I do that, I'm going to reintroduce Roman Reigns to the most dangerous letters in wrestling, RKO." So alongside it to open up SmackDown, we really didn't get much from this aside from LA Knight and AJ Styles arguing. But what did you think of this?
I thought this was good. I mean, they haven't, in my opinion, I know people are going to be like, "What?" In my opinion, they still haven't done enough to get me fully invested in this match. I still think it would have been a better job if it was just Roman and Randy. But this was okay. With these three guys teaming up, it just makes no sense because they're all supposed to go against each other.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't matter. I guess.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I mean, I think the problem with these matches.
I'm just not fully invested since they made it a fatal 4-way.
Yeah, I think most young wrestling fans or some wrestling fans will hear fatal 4-way and be like, "Oh my god, I'm so scared for the champion." But when I hear fatal 4-ways or triple threats or anything like that, I think champion's not going to win because somebody else is going to get the victory. So also with the amount of momentum Roman has, we know he's not going to lose. So
he's got to go to WrestleMania.
So yeah, it's like unless they do a crazy situation,
which is why I've never been a fan of Rumble title defenses at the Rumble. I've never been a fan of it. I've never been a fan of it.
But like, okay, like back in the day though, like when it was normal where like they weren't having champions for 3 fucking years at a time, like it was okay because you knew, all right, this one might lose, but you know Roman's not losing. Like there's no fucking way. Like, and so it's just that's the problem when you have a champion for a long time. It's that it almost loses credibility in the other competitors because he's been champion for so long.
I think the next time we all sit down, watch a wrestling show, and be like, oh my God, is Roman Reigns actually going to lose? It's going to be WrestleMania 40.
Yeah.
If it's against Cody Rhodes. Okay.
What were you going to say?
I think that Roman and Rock could still happen without the title, and this would be a way for someone else to get the title with Roman not losing.
Yeah, but they're not gonna like. My whole point of this is like, think about it again. 2019, or I'm sorry, 2020 to 2024, just to lose at the Royal Rumble. They're not, they're not gonna do that. If it was 1 year, maybe, but the significance, the history of it. But let's move on. Our first match, we have Legado del Fantasma taking on the LWO with Zelina Vega. And in this match, we see Legado del Fantasma drop Joaquin, the new Legado del Fantasma is Angel and Humberto and Santos. So Legado drop Joaquin Wilde onto Santos's knee. Escobar nails a back suplex and gets a 2 count. Humberto nails a springboard kick to Carlito. And Del Toro lands a diving headbutt. But the end comes when Carlito hits Humberto with a backstabber, but Escobar rolls up Carlito to get a 3 count for Legado. We do know that this Friday on SmackDown, we will get Carlito and Escobar in a one-on-one match. But what were your thoughts on this 6-man tag match here?
I'm always going to love the Hispanics and whatever the fuck they do.
Yeah.
But where is this going? Wait. Did I just get Impact Wrestling? Anyway. This isn't going anywhere. Where is this going? That's my only complaint about this. Because again, I'm a big fan of my Hispanic culture and what they do storyline wise. And they have good guys. I like Santos ever since he's been heel. And Carlito's always good.
Mm-hmm.
But where is this shit going? They're doing the same bullshit every week. I think they're waiting for Ray to come back. And I think Ray and Santos meet at the Royal Rumble.
Okay. I can see that happening. I agree with you. Like,
oh my God, no way. I had the TNA channel.
I thought for a while that when Rhea and Dominic break up, Dominic was gonna turn face and like take over LWO and Ray would retire. But they kind of like the LWO just kind of faded out. So I don't really see that happen.
Yeah. And unfortunately, they're not being booked as a real top threat like the Judgment Day. So you kind of feel like, what's going on. But I do wish, to be honest, I know we talked about this with our past recaps about the number of matches on the Rumble. I don't like that they're like, okay, on SmackDown you're getting Carlito versus Santos, and you're getting this. It's like, just give it to us at the pay-per-view. Like I just feel like they're making these wrestlers not as important as they can or should be. But our next match, we have Pretty Deadly taking on Tyler Bate and the return of the Bruiserweight Pete Dunne. I popped when he came out as the Bruiserweight because that's his best. I feel like that's his best gimmick for him. We'll talk about Bobby Lashley shows up in a minute, but we'll talk about the match first. Pretty Deadly nail a clothesline. I'm sorry, Pete Dunne nails a clothesline to Kip Wilson. He stomps on Kip's fingers and pulls them back. Bate nails an airplane spin, and then Dunne nails a snap German, and the end comes after Pete nails a bitter end to Elton Prince. What did you think? I mean, for weeks we've been seeing Pretty Deadly attack Butch, but what do you think about Pete Dunne being back now and this gimmick?
I'm really shocked about the lack of pop that he got.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people have been waiting for this for how fucking long, guys? Sorry, I'm down here. My shit's charging. My iPad's charging. But
Screw you, Atlanta. You should have popped hard for Pete.
I mean, they should have. But I mean, it's good. Now get him the fuck off the tag team. Put him by himself.
Yeah. See, I just like, to be honest, Christian, I feel like this year needs to be the year where we see the long reign champions drop their titles, because like I would like to see Pete Dunne become Intercontinental champion, or like or even Sheamus coming back to win that title. Like I'm just tired of seeing the same people with the belt. But speaking of new stuff, Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits give a promo about the Final Testament, and Lashley says, "When we find you, we'll show you what real intimidation looks like." We kind of crapped on these two teams, so we'll move on from that. We get the Kevin Owens Show with WWE United States Champion Logan Paul, and Kevin says, "I can't believe I'm saying this, but welcome Logan Paul to the ring." Logan comes out, and Logan says, "Why would I want to come on this junkie show? I am the show. I owe you a proper thank you. You're the reason I'm in WWE. 3 years ago, you embarrassed me in front of 70,000 people. You hit me with a stunner, and all these people cheered. That moment, I realized I had to prove to you and everyone I belong here." Kevin says, "I got to be honest, I barely remember doing that. You would remember that because I've been doing this for 25 years. You're just one of the many I stunned. You weren't just another celebrity guest, though. You became way better than anyone would have thought. You're not one of us, though." And Logan says, "Thank God, I'm one of one. You're just you." Kevin says, "Well, I don't know what any of that meant. I heard what you think about me. There's a lot I can't talk about. You are protected and sheltered. See, you came here. You were offered tools. You used them and became a champion. As far as I'm concerned, that is a joke. I'm putting an end to it at the Royal Rumble." And then Paul says, "Your arm is protected. The only reason you knocked me out is because of that cast. I knocked out everyone. It's only going to take me one to see you knock you out." Kevin says, "I can take more punishment and get back up. There isn't a punch you can throw that will keep me out for 3 seconds. I'm not going to have this cast on." And then as he talks, Logan punches Kevin Owens, but Kevin gets up. However, Logan slams Kevin's hand into the steps, and that cast is a disadvantage to Kevin Owens. What did you think of this promo, though? I really liked how Kevin.
I did too.
I want them to make it like no holds barred.
I really enjoyed this promo. This was SmackDown, in my opinion, has been lacking.
Mm-hmm.
Even the whole Roman Reigns thing isn't really appealing, but this was great. I mean, Kevin Owens, my problem with him was the whole screaming into the microphone, like, oh, oh, oh. He stopped doing that a little more, which made this promo good. He actually spoke clearly. But I'm excited for their match. This match is one of the only matches, besides the Rumbles, obviously, that have me curious who the fuck's actually going to win. I hope. Look, I've never been the biggest Kevin Owens guy, but damn it, I hope they give the fucking belt back on a full-time wrestler. Holy
I
shit.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Especially
At this
Seth
point,
Rollins
right.
not out for until Mania.
I agree. And said that, like he made his point, he won the title. And I think at some point it's like he doesn't need to be a champion to be relevant, Logan Paul. But speaking of championships, we both hate on the women's tag division, so I'm gonna brush through this quickly. The women's tag champions, Kayden
I
Carter.
watch women's wrestling for ass and tits.
For what?
Ass and tits.
Oh, I hate you. Goodbye.
That's
Well,
the
you're
only
not
reason I
getting a
watch
lot of
women's
that
wrestling.
with Katana chance.
I only watch women's wrestling to see ass and tits.
Well, listen, man.
Unless it's Charlotte, Bianca, Becky, or Rhea.
Okay.
Then I watch for their work. But they're all hot as fuck too.
And Bailey, because Bailey's not.
Bailey's got no.
Bailey's sexy. Oh
Bailey-
my god.
Bailey's got an ass.
All right. Well, now that we've upset all the women listeners, who I highly doubt there's a lot out there, but the women's tag champions, Kayden Carter and Katana Chance, taking on the unholy union, which is Alba, Fyre, and Isla Dawn. And we see Damage Control at ringside, and Bailey is on commentary. This is a very quick match. Carter and Kayden land a keg stand, and they retain the titles. However, after the match, the Kabuki Warriors dance with the titles.
And they are winning that championship tomorrow.
Tomorrow the tag titles on the line, Kayden and Katana against the Kabuki Warriors. Now, my question for you, not even about the match, but what if the Kabuki Warriors don't win? Do you think this could be the beginning of the end of Bailey? Because maybe Bailey might cross them by accident, and then they're going into the Royal Rumble on Saturday.
Yeah.
Well, I think that the beginning of the end of Bailey already happened, but it could. But I think it needs to lead up to the tease of Bailey's dream of them having every women's title.
Yeah, but then,
I don't know. I think I mean, this is always been my problem. Even with Asuka as world champion, we don't get anything. We get her yelling in Japanese. I mean, what are the Kabuki Warriors going to get this championship for? To rub it in Bailey's face? I mean, they need to make these championships something. I've been saying this for years. At this point, I mean, what the fuck? Like, I can't. When are they going to realize that, hey, these belts aren't meaning anything? I don't know. I don't think it would do them any good. They're already the hottest women's faction, even though there's not fucking many. That's why they are. I don't know. If Bailey wins the Rumble, it'd be a really big fuck you to Damage Control, and I won't feel as bad if she gets turned on. I won't, because she's projected to win. A lot of people think she
will. I will, because I think with that, if the way the storyline seems to go, it would be the only way that it would make sense for Io to even agree to fight Bailey, right? Like if Io has no chance of saying no, like if Bailey doesn't win the Rumble, then Io can basically be like, I don't want to defend my title against you, whereas if Bailey wins,
something with Io, she doesn't do shit.
I know. Well, that's kind of what Christian was saying. Like a lot of them, the problem is the language barrier. They can only really show what they can do in the ring, and it's hard when, they. But again, I do think there is room for that. Think about all of the other Asian, wrestlers that wrestle in Japan, and it translates well over. It's just,
you just said in Japan.
Don't really give them a chance. Like they can.
Well, look at Nakamura. Nakamura barely speaks English.
Yeah, and he has good storylines.
Well, and that's because they want to give them to him. It's the writers that decide who gets what. But we were going to take our first break. When we come back, we're going to talk about AJ Styles versus LA Knight and the main event, Randy Orton and Solo Sikoa. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Big fat nuts.
Go ahead, Christian.
Oh, no, I just said big fat nuts.
SmackDown. Yes, we are live. We are back. That's Christian. I don't even know what we're talking about. I wish I was high.
I
So
said big fat nuts.
oh, as we open SmackDown.
Because
Oh,
I'm
that's
eating this and it said nuts, so I said big fat
big
nuts.
fat nuts. Well, I mean, it's especially with Mr. McMahon lately. I'm sort of like my mind's everywhere when I hear that word.
Wow.
Yeah. We'll get there later on. So
No, yeah, we will.
let's
We'll get where Mr. McMahon defecating on people.
oh yeah, you heard about that? He supposedly was shitting on people. Vince. That's interesting.
What?
Yes. There's an accusation that he defecated on someone during a threesome. Interesting. Vince, you are really weird. So we get an interview with Carmelo Hayes back.
That's the weirdest shit I've ever heard.
It's so fucking weird. Carmelo Hayes is talking, and then Austin Theory and Grayson Waller interrupt, and Hayes challenges Theory, and Waller accepts for him. So it looks like Carmelo Hayes is going to be featured more on the main roster, which I don't like because he's got this whole thing with Trick Williams. But go ahead.
Carmelo Hayes to me. Sorry, I'm eating a peanut butter cup. Carmelo Hayes to me is very overrated. He's just like a lot of the fucking people, right? Ricochet, Theory. He's just one of those young guys that will get lost when brought up. And that's why I like what he's doing in NXT, you know, with Trick and, you know, people that are on his level. People that he's worked with before have good matches. There's no way in hell he should be brought up before Braun Breaker. I'm sorry. Well, this was okay. They buried Triple H. Obviously, has a thing against Theory because when Vince was booking him, he was on TV every week. Now he's getting his squashed.
Yeah.
So I wonder what's going on with that. I think the hype for Austin Theory, everyone was talking about, I think that's over.
I agree. When I first saw Theory, I was like, "Oh, he's gonna be the next Orton, next Cena," and I agree.
The way they were booking him, Vince was booking him, I thought.
Yeah, but now I agree with you. He's kind of gone flatlined. We'll see what happens next week. But back to this episode, we have LA Knight versus AJ Styles up next. Some quick notes from the match. Styles hits a backbreaker and LA lands a power slam to get a 2 count. LA Knight slams AJ Styles onto the announce table, and then Jimmy Uso walks out. AJ nails an enziguri to LA Knight, and then Solo Sikoa shows up and nails LA Knight with a Samoan spike, giving AJ Styles a DQ victory. After those, Solo tosses AJ into the steps, and Solo also nails a Samoan spike to Styles. Solo then says 2 down, 1 to go, Orton, get out here now. So obviously, like, I knew something was going to happen during this Styles and LA Knight match. But what were your thoughts on the match, and who do you think is better, Knight or Styles?
Who do I think's better? Oh my fucking God. Is that even a question?
I know your answer, but I still have to ask it just because, I mean, these two guys are fighting pretty much as to who's the bigger star. So what do you think?
Well, I think AJ Styles is fucking better, of course.
But AJ Styles is better.
Yeah. LA Knight is overrated as fuck. AJ Styles is AJ fucking Styles.
The phenomenal one, I know.
No, but this was okay. I mean, I knew the Uso, one of them was gonna get involved. I think LA Knight, or excuse me, AJ and Solo will go 1-on-1 in the future. If it's not Randy, I think it will be Solo. But it was okay, man.
It just keeps making Solo look good. Sorry, what was that?
I just think AJ should have won clean by pin.
I agree. I was saying that this is hard because, like, AJ Styles is one of my favorites, but the past couple of years, you know, we haven't really not on his end, but on WWE's booking end, we haven't really seen the grace that he can do. And
Yeah,
I don't think they're doing any favors to either of these guys by booking a match just to have someone interfere when AJ Styles is a top guy for so long, and LA Knight is sort of new. But this makes Solo look good, and that's pretty much the whole point here. So we get our main event, Randy Orton versus Solo Sikoa here. Solo slams Orton onto the announce table and tosses Orton into the ring steps. Orton nails a back suplex to Solo onto the announce table and a draping DDT. Just like the match prior, Jimmy Uso walks out, but this time LA Knight attacks Uso and AJ tosses Jimmy into the stage. And then Orton nails an RKO to Solo to get a 3 count. After the match, AJ, LA Knight, and Orton are on the ring. LA Knight hits AJ, and then Orton nails an RKO to both AJ Styles and LA Knight standing tall. Roman Reigns shows up and nails Randy Orton with a Superman punch. Roman signs the contract and tosses it on the floor. Roman goes for a spear but gets nailed with an RKO, and Orton leaves the last man standing here. What did you think of the match and Orton being it?
Orton's the fucking GOAT.
Yeah.
Anytime they book Randy Orton to lose, I'm gonna get pissed. Unless it's against Roman, then I guess I understand. But I mean, yes, right man won. It's good for Solo. He's now had a match against Cena, Orton, soon to be Roman. Might be in the same ring as The Rock. I mean, he's getting there. Soon the betrayal is gonna come. I like Solo. I've always thought he's played his part pretty well. This was a good match.
I agree with you. I was just thinking as we're talking about this, we're talking about how this Fatal 4-Way match isn't really what we wanted. I feel like what they could have done to possibly make it a little bit better is have it be elimination style. So then you do get Roman and Orton in that final.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we're just getting the basic Fatal 4-Way match. I do hope that with this momentum that Orton has, that they don't forget about it during the match. Like, if Orton doesn't, I think if Reigns wins here, I doubt we'll see this, but I do want to see him fight Orton in a single one-on-one match because Orton's momentum is up there with CM Punk. They debuted on the same night. And I think it will be silly of them to make Orton look unstoppable here just to have him.
Yep, I agree.
But with that, let me know your final thoughts on this episode of SmackDown. We're almost at the Royal Rumble. What do you think?
I think Vince McMahon's a weirdo.
Yep.
I think TNA is going to be great. I think AEW's been decent. And I think this was a great episode of Raw. So wrestling's eating.
It's been good, man. There's been a lot happening going on. And for me, I thought this episode of SmackDown was okay, but I'm just waiting for all these episodes to pass so we can get to the Royal Rumble. I have no clue. Like, this is gonna be hard for me this year because I have ideas on who I think is gonna win, but I have no clue, so it's gonna be hard. But with that, we're going to be covering Monday Night Raw, and we're going to be talking a bit about Vince McMahon, that situation going on all over the news. And this is the last Raw that we're going to be covering till the Royal Rumble. So until next time, stay safe and stay
uncensored.
Uncensored. That's right. And you can eat
TNA.
You can eat big balls, but just make sure you don't do anything with Vince McMahon because then that will lead you into a situation. But yes, we will see you next time. Bye, everybody.